Welcome to the Car Deal Advisor Podcast Show. The presenter of this show is Hugh Hetrick. Get ready for special motoring legends and great deals on your next set of wheels. So the 5 red lights have just gone out and it's go, go, go.
Welcome to the Car Deal Advisor Podcast Show with me, Hugh Hetrick, and my very special guest, Super GT. Hi, Steve Brown. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm very well, very well. And I'm so excited to do this podcast today. And as you can see, we've had a few technical issues, but we're back on track. At least now I know how to hit the record button. But yes, we did our interview a few months ago back in October. And there you just hit 140,000 subscribers. And now you have over 170,000 subscribers, which is absolutely brilliant. But you recently got another award from YouTube. And that was it was an official award for the amount of subscribers that you have.
Yes, so for reaching certain milestones, 100,000, 1 million and 10 million subscribers, you get sent a nice wall plaque from YouTube themselves. So I reached 100,000 a couple of months ago, and then it took a little bit of time, but then we got the 100,000 silver play button, it's called. Uh-huh. So it's really nice to have like a physical reminder from YouTube themselves of the work you've put in, and it kind of just put up on the wall kind of inspires you to go for the next one, the 1 million. So hopefully in years to come, we can aim for that and get the gold one. Yeah,
well, I think did you say you'd have over 100,000 new subscribers this year, or in the last year?
In 2018, I think it was pretty much around 100,000 extra subscribers in 2018. So that was a nice total to achieve.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So I'm sure, well, if you can keep going at that rate, then it won't be too long at all before you're hitting the 1 million mark. It's amazing how it can come about and go quite quickly, really. But I mean, you seem to really stand out in the YouTube gaming section, because you've got thousands of videos that you've done over the years. I believe it was 2011 when you first started. So you must have done a fair number of videos since then. And I mean, did you start live streaming, or did you just start doing videos and recording it and putting it out there?
Yeah, the live streaming is something that's a bit more recent. At the beginning, it was just videos. So back in 2011, that's when I first started making videos. I think it's over 1,300 videos now. So it's a lot. The total was racked up quite quickly. Uh-huh. But live streaming, I think I started about 2 years ago. I think it's a nice way to sort of add another dimension to the content. Uh-huh. And of course, with a live stream, you can interact. You can interact live and talk and discuss live with your viewers. So I think it's a really good way to sort of build a relationship with the people who tune in regularly. Uh-huh. And live stream's been really good fun, actually. So I'm happy to have started them, and I think this year I'm going to try to do a lot more of them, because I think YouTube tries to push them. So If you do live streaming a lot more, I think your channel grows a little bit more. So it's worth investing the time into that.
Yeah. I mean, something I always enjoy it. Normally, I know that on a Monday night, there'll always be either your good self or a couple of racers that are doing live streams. So you get a chance to comment and see what you're up to. And it's great fun because, as you say, you answer all of our comments, which is brilliant. And also we get tips on how to race, and we kind of watch you do the races on Gran Turismo, and then that helps us when we go and have a shot later on, to try and get tips and see how you're doing it and things, which is great. And you have some fantastic races online as well for us all to watch. I know in the last year you've had some good ones at the Nürburgring, and also at Bathurst, wasn't it? The nightly race at Bathurst this week. You had some crackers there. And it's quite fun because obviously you start from scratch and you have to build up to get competitive straight away. And we get to see how to do that. So it's you're kind of helping a lot of people learn an awful lot about motor racing and certainly about sim racing and how to do it. So you must get quite a lot of fun as well playing, and then also knowing that you've got such a big following.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main things when I first started, one of the main things was trying to be educational, trying to be helpful, or give my advice or tips as much as possible. And since moving to the wheel, or I suppose when I first started Gran Turismo Sport, playing with the controller, and I wasn't that good, I was kind of average. And then there's a sort of a journey which everyone can follow.
Yeah.
How good can I get with the controller?
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite relatable. You know, a lot of people want to improve on the game, so they can watch me do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, recently buying the wheel, so I made the transition over to using a wheel instead of a controller.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of got to relearn the whole game again because it's really different.
Yeah.
So again, we've got another process where I'm going to be trying to get good at the game, and hopefully people can tune into that and find it somewhat relatable, or can at least learn from it, even if I'm crashing quite a lot. But I think, to be fair, that's quite normal. I think people make mistakes, so maybe it's a bit more relatable rather than being the best driver in the world who never makes mistakes, because you can't.
Yeah,
not many people do that.
I think what's quite interesting, I've certainly noticed over the months watching you, is that we all have the same days. You know, you'll have a live stream night where it just seems like nothing works, or in terms of you get rammed by somebody and it just never, you can't seem to get a good race, but you kind of keep going until you get at least one good race out of it, or a bit more, you know, because you don't want to leave on a bad note, and you want to try and leave your racing after an evening of hopefully successful racing. And I think we've all had those nights when we just get into the wrong group on GT Sport Online, and you find that people are crashing into you left, right and centre, and you're watching your DR disappear.
I think it's just true of all motorsport, really. I've done it in real life racing, in virtual racing. There's just days when just things don't go your way. Of course, motorsport and racing isn't all about luck, but there is certainly a luck element.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Sometimes there are just days where just everything just doesn't go your way. There's nothing you can really do about it, but you kind of got to keep your chin up, keep your head high, go through those days, and then wait for the days where things do go your way, and then make the most of those.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, it's almost like when you get into a bad set, you end up going for moves that maybe you wouldn't do normally because you're more desperate to try and get a better result, and then that just works out badly, or somebody else rams you, or you hit somebody else and you get another penalty, and you find you got a whole list of crazy penalties, and it all kind of adds up. But it's all part of the action and all part of the adventure of watching it as well. That it is good fun, and it is ultimately very relatable, because we all go through the same thing. It's just nice to see you guys do really well, and kind of keep going up. Because I think it helps a lot of people learn, how do I drive in order to get up to a better level? And we're watching you to try and get that, and it's working. So it's, I think it definitely makes a difference. I think quite a lot of people are buying, wheels now, because they see you and others, using wheels, and they think, right, now is the time to have a shot. What would you say is your biggest difference between having the wheel and the rig setup and then playing by a controller?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, alongside changing the controller to the wheel, alongside that, I've changed the camera angle as well. With the controller, you're playing in that viewpoint where you're looking from behind the car, so you can see the whole car.
Yeah.
On a wheel, that view feels very disengaged. You can't really connect with the car as much as you can on a controller. So therefore, I changed to a viewpoint at the front of the car. I think that is a massive change, because all of your reference points change. It's hard to see things. With the chase cam, you're quite high up. It's quite panoramic almost. So if a car's next to you, you can see it there. You can just see things a lot easier. So one of the hard things trying to adapt to is the lack of visibility, or the different visibility. It's just a little bit harder to see things. So I think that's one of the biggest differences, just the viewpoint. But maybe, the wheel, everything's just a lot smoother. So with the wheel, you can hold it at a certain angle, which is really hard to do on the little stick on the controller. Yeah. So your steering can be much more smooth. And with the pedals as well, it's much easier to hold the pedal, let's say, half the way down. Through the corner, you want to have it half the way down before you then fully depress the pedal. So it's easy to do that on the pedals compared to the controller. So I think the main difference is just on the wheel, everything's a little bit smoother. You can just hold it at a certain angle a little bit easier, and therefore you can preserve your tyres and just be a little bit smoother through the turns.
Yeah, because I bought a wheel just over a year ago. I gave in. I enjoyed using the pad for Gran Turismo, but I thought now's the time. And it was Black Friday in 2017, and they had these incredible deals on Logitech wheels. So I got a Logitech G29 and the pedal setup. And it's brilliant. I have to say, I was so keen on it, and I got one of these the race seat things, so the play seat, just the standard one, and I got a phenomenal deal because it was Black Friday, and I've never gone back to the controller ever since because it's just so much better. You feel so much more connected. And, it's so much more fun, I think, just having the steering wheel and that. The only thing I don't use is the manual gears in terms of, you have a gear stick. I've actually got it in a box. I know you were saying you might be looking for one. You're more than welcome to mine because it's sitting in a box and it's unused. It hasn't been opened. So, if you want it, you're welcome to have it. But I can send it down to you. But I think having the steering wheel and the pedals is just brilliant. And it's just so much more fun and you feel that you're getting into the game a lot more. But there are certain tracks that I can't beat my time at with a controller, which I can't understand. It's a strange thing, but I suppose in time you get a bit better. I've definitely been quicker on Gran Turismo with the wheel, without doubt. But I have the first, Project Cars game, and I used to do the time trial on that. And in one, I'm third in the world on one track. It was the one in Marseille. And yet I can't go anywhere near my time with the steering wheel. So I don't know why that is, but, I'm sure only the Lord knows how that happens. So you find that you're getting, you said that you've already been a lot quicker with the wheel as you're on certain tracks already. So you're finding that it is making quite a big difference.
I'd say already, after how long about it? About a week. I'd say I'm already pretty much on the pace I was with the controller. So with the controller, it took from October 2017. That's when the game came out. From then until December last year, so a month ago.
Yeah. To
get as good as I was, but already within a week, I'm on the pace that I was with the controller. So quite quickly. Yeah, I think I've reached the pace that I was, which is a good sign. So now hopefully I can go on to get quicker than I was. Because I think with the controller I was reaching sort of a plateau and I wasn't improving at all. Mm-hmm. There's certain limitations with the controller. I think I just touched on tyre wear. It's really hard to manage your tyres, to keep your tyres fresh on the controller because it's just not smooth enough.
Yeah, yeah.
So with the wheel and the pedals, you can really preserve your tyres, which is over the course of a 20-minute race, it's going to save you a lot of seconds. So it's really worth doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting there, and hopefully this year, go beyond what I was on the controller, and I think the main aim really is just to try to compete for the GT Sport in the GT Sport FIA Championships, and maybe qualify for one of the regional events. I think that'd be a good aim, and if I do that, I think I'll be very, very pleased.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm sure all not only myself, but your followers will be keen to see how you do, and we'll be backing you up as much as we can to make sure you can do as well as you can for these incredible races. Because the FIA races, they're quite dramatic, aren't they? They take you to some nice, glamorous places. I think they have the last one. They had one in Monaco, didn't they, last year? And
yeah, so the world final last year was held in Monaco. Mm-hmm. So obviously very, very glamorous, very, very nice place to visit.
Yeah. And
the regional final, so they had one in Asia, one in Europe, one in the Americas. Mm-hmm. So in America is in Las Vegas. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
The one in Asia was in Tokyo, and again, that is crazy. And I think the European one was Madrid. I think it was Madrid or Barcelona, one of the two.
All right, yeah.
So either way, you're going to a cool city for a couple of days. So yeah, it'd be amazing to qualify for the equivalent of that this year.
Yeah. So I take it really that's kind of comes to our next question. Really, it was all about kind of goals for the year, and that pretty much answers that one. It's so really to qualify for the FIA championships and to see how well you can do, and that would be amazing. And of course, I think they live stream all of that as well, don't they? They live stream the games or the finals and things like that. So lots of people have a good chance to see it.
Yeah, they actually live stream it in like 6 different languages.
Wow.
So they got 6 different commentary teams, like English, French, Spanish, German. I think they added a Japanese one because there were a couple of Japanese players who qualified.
Yeah.
So they got loads of different languages, all on YouTube, really easy to access. And you know what? The coverage was really good. One of the races last year in the final, the manufacturer's final, it was an hour long, the race. It was like 7 laps at the Nürburgring, at the Nordschleife. And I sat and watched the whole thing. It was just that good. And normally I would always skip through a race that long.
Yeah.
But this one, I sat there and watched the entire thing, an hour long. And it was really engaging, really close. If you haven't seen it, maybe give it a look.
Yeah,
Because right at the end, it was close right to the last corner.
Wow.
After an hour of racing, that's how good it was.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? To think how it can go on that long and you have the seconds in it right the way through. That I'll certainly recommend that our listeners and readers would go and watch the live stream race of the FIA finals. It was in December, I think, wasn't it, or was it slightly earlier? Or was it November time?
Beginning of November, I think it was.
Beginning of November, yeah. And it's just under the FIA finals for the sim racing. But
yes.
Yeah, well, you never know. You could be in the one this year when it comes to November.
Hopefully, I mean that's the aim. That's the aim. Hopefully, we can get there. Maybe not. But I think it's quite hard balancing the life of being a YouTube content creator. That sucks up a lot of time as it is.
Yeah.
And so dedicating time to practicing will be difficult. But I suppose as a full-time content creator, I have got time, I suppose, on my hands. So
yeah.
I just have to put the effort in, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, that's just quickly before we go to our commercial break for the first section. I'm always amazed at the fact that you can race really well and still answer our questions, because I know what it's like when I'm just trying to race at home and my wife comes in and says, "Oh, do you need this or do you want to do this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm on my qualifying lap, my best race ever." You know, it always happens at the wrong time. And so the way that the fact that you don't crash, you keep going and you end up winning how many races, nearly 90 odd races you've won, is really quite incredible. So I'm quite sure if you're able to have time to practice even more, then I'm sure you'll be right up there with the top people. But
I think the main thing was the thing I've been thinking about recently. You're always trying to think of ways to improve your game. Mm-hmm. It's just really thinking about the right thing at the right time. Aye. So I realised, for example, that sometimes going into a corner, let's say I've got someone quite close behind, I'm looking up at the delta. Oh, he's half a second behind. Oh, he's 4 tenths behind. He's 5 tenths behind. And I shouldn't have been looking at that thing at that moment because I needed to be braking and focusing on my turning in point.
Yeah.
So really it's just about focusing on the right thing at the right time. And with the chat, save it for the straight. If I've got a straight of 5 seconds, I'll have a look at the chat and then think about the answer.
Yeah.
It's really just looking at the right thing at the right time, thinking about the right thing at the right time, and just focusing on what you really need to at that exact moment.
Aye, because that's exactly right, isn't it? So that you're not being pressurised by anything that you don't need to be, so you can concentrate on exactly what needs to be done. But I always try and leave my donations till it's either qualifying or something that's not quite so important. I thought the last thing you need is a thing coming on your screen telling you £1 for this or £1 for that, and when you're in the middle of a major race. So it's but no, it's great fun watching them. Well, that's the end of part one. So we'll quickly have a very, very short commercial break, and we'll be right back in a few seconds. At cardioadvisor.co.uk, we can help you save thousands of pounds on your next new car or van, and we can also source second-hand cars as well. And we can save you money on car rental, whether it be in the UK and abroad. Just click our rental link on the website. And we'll give you a free gift if you trade in your car with We Buy Any Car using our special website link. So go to the website now and see how much you can save. And it's back to the show. Thanks for listening. Hugh Hattrick and my very special guest, Super GT, Steve Alvarez Brown. Well, before we went to break, we were talking about the FIA finals and also the top tips as to how to get your lap times better and things to concentrate on. So now I thought we'll go to the funniest moments. Now, Steve, you've done so many live streams. There must be quite a few funny moments that you have that you can tell us about.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, when I finish racing online, I normally do open lobbies. Uh-huh. So I invite everyone who's watching. They can just join in, and we do a couple of races. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's often quite hard to recall really funny moments from further back. But just the other day, I think it's Willow Springs. It's like quite a desert, a desert circuit in the United States. Mm-hmm. So I just parked my car up to read the chat, and a couple of people just go flying over the top of my car. And it just completely caught me off guard. I thought, how the hell has this happened? But it's quite funny because it's just one of those moments where maybe you had to be there to witness it. But I think a lot of people, they know that I'm streaming. They know that they could get on the stream and create a funny moment. So I think a lot of people are just trying to create funny moments and jumping over the top of my car over some weird jump out of nowhere. So no, it's always good. People have got a good sense of humour and they like to just creates some funny moments for me, which is always good, and it keeps the stream going, because sometimes it can be hard streaming, you know.
Yes, actually, it's a lot of work.
It's harder work than it might appear.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes, you know, when people leave positive comments and create funny moments, then it does keep you going a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think it's always funny when you're watching a race and, you know, if you've dive bombed somebody and you manage to get, you know, you get through and then they end up crashing for their own reasons. And then nobody knows who's going to get the penalty. And so you're all kind of gritting your teeth, hoping that nobody's going to get one. Or if you're watching people in front racing, you can kind of tell when there's going to be an accident. And you're just hoping that the cars will kind of, what do they call it, ghost out before you hit them, because sometimes you've got no way of avoiding them. But there can be some very funny moments, and you've had some phenomenal races where you've ended up passing 2 or 3 people at one time, just because it's been all chaos in front, and you've managed to make the best of it and get the line through without causing any carnage, you know. But and then of course you have people giving you funny comments. There's some quite good comments that come through, like people even give you their addresses online for everyone to see.
Yeah. It was really quite unusual, like people sending their address through, and I mean, if they're donating money, then you can't complain too much, I suppose.
Yeah, no, of course not.
There are some questionable comments, it must be said, but you have to try and pick through the best ones, I suppose, and if it's a negative one, just try not to let it get to you.
Yeah,
but there are some funny ones out there for sure.
Yeah, I do like, because it's almost like in the comments page, people are having jokes between themselves, aren't they? Because one person will say something and then a whole host of folk will kind of reply to that, and it works rather well. But no, it is good fun watching them and just seeing how it goes and how it affects you as a driver as you're trying to race through all of that, and not get too involved, but still answer questions. But I have to say, some of your expressions were priceless. When you got these donations coming through and people saying all sorts of different things. But I do also like when you have a Peggy 18 advert that you put in every so often. But no, to be fair, your live stream is very, very clean. There's never anything that's really dodgy or anything like that at all in it, even when the chat can sometimes be a bit more out there. But no, I think you manage it extremely well. Which is really good, because it means you can have a good audience of a wide age range, and everybody gets on and enjoys it. But
the thing is, like, you have to keep it somewhat clean. I mean, I am someone who swear in real life. I swear quite a bit, but in the streams, I really try to not do that. As much as I'd love to, because you could say is my character. In real life, with my friends, I would swear, but on the live stream, try not to. But as you say, try and get a wider range audience, because I know that there are viewers in there who are younger, and you shouldn't. You have a responsibility, to try to keep it clean to an extent, especially if you have got the younger viewers.
Yeah, of course. And it is hard, because if you've had a bad race and somebody rams you, there are sometimes a few expletives on the tip of your tongue, aren't they? We've all had that. You do a very good job of keeping everything absolutely in the right position in terms of it's easy to watch for any audience, which is really good. In fact, I know of one chap who does streaming, and because he swears quite a bit on the stream, he tends to get demonetized when he does his videos. So I thought there's a big incentive there not to swear, isn't it? Because otherwise you're going to lose money out the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Which is no use at all. So let's go from our kind of funniest moments to what would you say are your top 5 tips, or if you have some tips for your readers and followers, what would you say is the 5 most important things to improve your racing?
Yeah, it does differ between games, but I think one thing that's universal between all racing games is paying attention to the best players. It always works. So in many games, you can go onto the leaderboards, watch replays, and I do this all the time on Gran Turismo. I do it all the time on Forza as well. So you go on the leaderboard, you watch the replay, and you just watch what the best player is doing. What gear are they using for each corner? Where are they braking? Where are they accelerating? Which car are they using? Which assists are they using? And it might sound cheap, but just copy what they're doing. They're using that car. It probably is a good car. They're shifting it at 6,000 RPM. They're using 4th gear through turn 1. They're using 2nd gear through the hairpin or whatever. And And I think that often always works. If you can just really try to emulate what the best players are doing and try to learn from them, that is always going to work. And if they overtake you, for example, in an online race, just pay attention. Did he accelerate away from me out of the turn? Yes. Well, probably he's getting on the throttle earlier. Oh, okay, I need to get on the throttle earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a constant learning process when you're playing.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the second tip as well.
Mm-hmm.
Always be ready to criticise yourself and work out what you're doing wrong, and be prepared to accept that you might be doing it completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, I think I see a lot of people, they're treating a game as if it's real life.
Aye.
So they'll say, I wouldn't shift at that point. I wouldn't shift that late in that car. But yeah, in real life you wouldn't. But in a game, it might just work, because obviously a game isn't reality. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And therefore, things that work in real life don't always work in the game, and vice versa.
Mm.
So you have to be prepared to be ready for things that are unexpected. So I get comments, "Oh, you're banging off the limiter all the time in every gear," but that's just part of the game. If you don't lift off the throttle in some games, it doesn't actually penalise you, whereas in real life it would.
Yeah, yeah.
So I suppose that's another tip there. That's only 2, isn't it? God.
No, I think that's probably 3.
Yeah, that's probably about 3 or 4 now.
Aye. No, that's really good to know, though, because I think that's it. There is a difference between the gaming and reality. And in the gaming, you can do a lot more. I mean, I remember we used to watch the old Formula One game streams, and I was amazed at how quick the times were. And it's because they were changing down so early, and the game somehow adjusted the rev limiters so it wasn't causing them to crash. They were able to still maintain grip and get around the corner so much faster. Because they were just banging down the gears, and it allowed them to go through corners that we could never go through at that speed. But then you learn from it, and then you're able to do, or you try and copy them and see how well you do. So there are differences, especially with gears. I think it's a real. Do you find that a common mistake is to brake far too late before you come to a corner, even on like the end of a straight, or if certain corners are tricky? People tend to brake too late, and it doesn't help them because the car then is very kind of unsettled as it goes through the next few corners.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, especially, if you have a sequence of corners, you really need to get the first one right so that you get all the rest of them right. But I think, maybe a common problem is that people brake too late. They're trying to save time.
Yeah.
Often it lends to them actually losing time because they're trying too much. You need to find your braking point. You need to find the optimum braking point. And just really hit that point every time, lap after lap. Yeah. And then don't really deviate from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So no, that's a good one. And obviously being careful on the throttle as well. You were saying being as smooth as you can is definitely a top tip.
Yeah, the throttle is really important. I think in most racing games, it's what differentiates the top people from let's say, the best person from the next best.
Yeah.
How quickly can they get on the throttle?
Mm-hmm.
I think a good tip in Gran Turismo is to, as you get on full throttle, to straighten up the car a little bit. So the instant before you start full throttling, straighten up your car slightly. So release your steering, and then the car is in a straight line, and you can accelerate a little bit better. If you're still steering, the car's going to want to slide out. So you do have to kind of take that into consideration, I think.
Yeah, I'm writing all this down, so I've got it all here. I've got my note paper here, and it's getting. If I can read my own writing, I'll be doing well. But no, that is definitely a good tip, because a lot of cars, they slide out quite easily, especially after hairpins. It's like Suzuka. The hairpin at Suzuka is very easy to spin out there. And before we were I think is it Fuji can be like that as well. There's a lot of hairpins there, especially towards the end. It can be quite tricky. But I think, thankfully, because one of the things that Gran Turismo Sport went through a phase where they were allowing people to really kind of cut corners for a while. I remember at the Red Bull Ring, and I wondered why I was like about 2-3 seconds slower than the top times. And it was because they were going right off the track at the last 2 corners and making one kind of circular run, and of course, and no penalties. And I thought, and also with the first corner, they were allowing people to go so far off the track. That even though they would get a penalty, they would lose it by the end of the first corner, the second corner kind of thing, the first hairpin. And I thought, thankfully, they've kind of cut down on that, because it was kind of a little bit unfair, I thought, or just not really in the interest of the game, to have such a kind of big, it's almost like a cheap fest, really, isn't it? When you're that far off the track limits.
You had races where you're going through, everyone's turning up to the Red Bull Ring in the FIA race, and you got this weird sense of, oh, should I be extending turn one, or should I be staying on the track? I don't know what I should be doing.
Yeah.
So it creates a weird sense of uncertainty about what you should actually be doing. Ultimately, I think everyone worked it out. Everyone just ran wide. So in a way, it was kind of balanced because everyone was doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you'd rather it was just stick to the track. If you go 4 wheels beyond the white line that's on the edge of the track, then you get a penalty. That's how it should be. But yeah, there's these weird exceptions where I don't know. The guy doing the track limits just went home that day and forgot to do it properly, or I don't know.
Yeah, something happened.
Yeah, but yeah, hopefully the last corner, I think they fixed it, but I think turn one, you can still run wide.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a really wide bit there, and then eventually people can come on just before the grass, literally, isn't it? And then it that's when they were getting their penalties, but it would go away by the time you got to the second corner and the kind of major hairpin. But no, well, that's the thing. Well, as we go on in the podcast, we've got a little idea to run past you and all your kind of top YouTubers, YouTube racing simulator drivers. That this year they're going to be reopening the Jim Clark Museum here in Duns in the Scottish Borders, and we are thinking what a better time it would be to have people like your good self and the other top YouTubers and racing drivers to come and do a simulator race. Would that be something that sounds of interest to you?
Absolutely. I think it'll be a really good idea, at some point, somewhere, to get a lot of the YouTube community, if you like, together in one place to do whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I think, the idea of all of us testing a simulator together, maybe who can get the quickest time, have a little competition.
Yeah.
And, way better, I suppose, than Jim Clark Museum, legendary driver. And it kind of blends the past with the future. So you've got the past of Jim Clark, one of the best racing drivers ever, and then sort of the future of sim racing with a load of YouTube personalities going in. But it would be a nice...
Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
Past and present.
Yeah, and there'll be people, I think, like certainly Jackie Stewart, I think David Coulthard is potentially coming, Dario Franchitti, and Alan McNish. So they're all kind of big drivers and, have a good history, great history of racing. So it'd be a chance to meet them as well, and maybe they might have a go with you too, and see what times can be done. But because we could always get one of these race room setups together, when they have about 4 of the simulators set up together, and then kind of maybe live stream it from there. I think it would be a fantastic thing. So that will probably be in the summertime. They're hoping to have it all finished and ready by maybe about June, July, August time. I can keep you up to date with that as to how it's going. But no, that would be super. Well, look, I really appreciate you coming on the show this week. It's been absolutely fantastic, and it's great to see how your YouTube channel is growing, and you're on to doing even better things and better times, and hopefully you'll be able to qualify for the FIA Championships. But is there anything you would like to say to your viewers and listeners just now, as a kind of as a going away present, you could say, from to finish the podcast with?
I'd just like to say, just thank you to everyone. Well, thank you for tuning in to the podcast. Thank you for making it to the end, if I wasn't waffling on too long.
No, not at all.
But just thank you. I think if you're subscribed to the channel or a regular viewer, just thank you for the support, because being able to turn this into a full-time occupation is it's a dream, really, living the dream, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can say is just thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the support.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and hopefully we can have more updates throughout the year. And then perhaps there'll be a big live stream here in the town of Duns for the Jim Clark Memorial Museum reopening. I think that would be an amazing thing. So I'll need to approach the Jim Clark Trust and see what they can do. But I'm sure we would be able to do something like that. I think it would be a fantastic event. And when's your next live stream, so that our viewers can find out about that? Will you be doing another one?
It might be tonight, Thursday 24th, but I suppose I'm streaming every couple of days these days, so it will never be too far away for the next one.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. That's great. Well, look, thank you very much for coming on the show, and we wish you all the best as you go on there racing and doing your live streaming, and we will speak to you very soon. Thank you, and I'll speak to you after the show. You've been listening to the Cardio Advisor podcast show with me, Hugh Hatrick, and my very special guest, Steve Alvarez Brown, or Super GT. For more information, go to cardioadvisor.co.uk and you can see all the special offers that we have on the website. And remember, we have our YouTube channel, which is at Hugh Hatrick, and also we have our podcasts on Podbean, on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Anchor FM. And if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to our shows, or you can donate every month for just £1. Thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.